What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Central Valley Living. I am your host, Jose. You can find me on Instagram, JGUZ or the other way around. This is my buddy, Big Mike, here again, guest star. Just wanted to ask him a few more questions from our last talk. We kind of had a little intro, more dialogue going on. This time, let's get in depth about, your ideas on certain specific topics that I always wanted to talk about, get a little more understanding of what you feel, and then I'll respond with how I feel about it, and then we'll go on from there.
Okay.
Sound good, buddy?
Cool.
All right. So one of the things that you're always talking about, obviously, is motivation. You're a motivational speaker. You go around talking to businesses and companies and try to spread the word on how to be better with yourself, with your life, with your business. Let's talk about that and just a little bit how you got into that, and then we'll talk about a few more things.
Okay.
So what inspires you to inspire others?
Is when I definitely see changes in people. When I see people going through what I've been through, when I've been there, when I've had that struggle, and I see them going in that cycle, when they're beating themselves up, or when they're just frustrated or down or just angry and depressed, it just reminds me of me. And when I see that in other people, like, it just attentions me as to where I have to do something, or I just fulfill my purpose as to where, hey, I have a message, I've been through that, and I was able to transform myself. So when I see people living like that, I'm just like, man, that ain't no way to live, because life is only so long, and while you're here, you want to make the best of it and live your life the most optimal way possible, and be as happy as you can possibly be and as fulfilled as you can possibly be. So one thing that definitely inspires me is when I see people, going through their own battles and struggles and challenges.
Yeah, for sure. Because how long these roads go, you know what I mean? Because you're like, I've been down there. It can go for a year, it can go for a month, it can be a week, whatever, but to see somebody going through a certain path, and you're like, oh, wait. You're like, let me just tell you a little bit about what I know about that. Mm-hmm. For sure. That's always one of the things that I try to do, especially with the younger people that I usually work with, or maybe befriend in school or something, where you're just like, oh, they have certain problems. You're just like, okay, well, this is what I did with that. You know what I mean? Because I've done the same. I've been through the same thing. We all go through the same stuff. So when people, feel alone, you know what I mean? It really frustrates me, because I'm just like, you're not alone, especially with like the internet and technology right now. There's no way that people can feel like they're the only one that's going through something, but it still does happen. And then there's people like you that telling them like, yo, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, or let's make a light, you know what I mean? Let's break that wall and make some light get in here, you know what I mean? So that's always awesome. But and another thing that people are really heavy on is going to the gym. And you know what I mean, you've been working out basically since as long as I've known you. You know what I mean? You were playing football, I believe, in high school. And so that's when I met you, and you were always athletic and b-boying and stuff like that, and you have all the martial arts going on. What motivates you to keep going to that? Like, most people will, they'll stop off at a year or so, they'll stop off in a couple months, you know what I mean? But you're just like, nah, we gotta go. You gotta go today. So like, what makes you go to the gym? Like, what makes you want to do these physical activities?
I would say that one of the first things that I've actually developed is the habit of being in it. After doing it for so long, it's just a habit, and I understand the benefits of it as well. And I actually enjoy lifting weights and being active. Our bodies, they crave that. When we were first created and put on this planet, we were built to run, to jump, to climb, to hunt, all of those things. So when you can simulate those actions, you're actually fulfilling your physical,
biological
needs. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
Sure. It goes down to like that primal instinct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so when our bodies and we as human beings are doing what we're supposed to be doing, we feel fulfilled, we feel happy, we feel like we're, on point. And so after just going through it, and I just enjoy it, it's become such a habit And then I also understand the health benefits from it. It's not just how you look physically, it's just how you feel. You know, you feel better, you'll become a different person. But a lot of what people don't know is, and you might not be able to tell, you know, when I'm working out, I just, you know, kind of have a serious look on my face or whatever. But when I'm actually thinking about when I'm working out is manifestations. I'm visualizing, I'm thinking about everything that I want in my life, and I'm
like a sort of meditational state while your eyes are open, while you're, you know, doing something, moving, you know, you're still meditating. Like, it's the physical, like, motion isn't really connecting with the actual mental part, you know, it's kind of like freeing. Like, you know, I get that for sure.
And
like,
it's kind of like you raise your frequency on another level when you're doing those kind of physical actions. You relate the mental with the physical and you combine the two. And anytime you can get your mind and your body working together for the same goals. So for me, I'm concentrating on growth, success, happiness, you know, fulfillment, desires, you know, everything that I want. I mean, I'm visualizing and I'm pushing myself, and I'm even telling myself, you know, grow, strength, you know, those kinds of things. And so my mind's on board with it. So it's that much more able to actually lift that weight, to push myself further. And I just keep feeling myself becoming stronger. So I'm actually building my physical strength and my mental toughness at the same time. Sometimes I'll just hold the weight there to see how long I can hold it, just to build that. So it's very much of a physical practice as it is a spiritual practice, because through the habit, I've also noticed if I'm not in the gym, I'm not in a good mood.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I miss one day, I don't feel right.
Yeah.
I miss 2 days, I'm grumpy. 3 days, you don't want to fucking be around me.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure. You're just like, I'm just going to throw you because I feel like I need to throw something, like lift something. Yeah, for sure. The hardest part for me is definitely recovery days, where it's just like, dude, all right, you need to sit down and just chill. You know what I mean? Because you do need that at least once a week, you know, so just to let your body just recuperate. But it's supposed to be doing that while you're sleeping. And that's another thing that people don't get enough of is sleep. Yeah. You know what I mean? So and I have a real tough problem sleeping when I don't work out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm like, through my mind, I'm just like, man, I could have worked out. I could work out right now and just put in a few, like 30 minutes before I go to sleep. You know what I mean? It just, that's a mindset, and it does become a habit, but it's a good one. Yeah. It's probably the best one to have, is to want to go and be like, well, I got to go to the gym, or I got to go run 3 miles right now. You know, I'll call you back in 20, 30 minutes. You know what I mean? They're like, you have to? But yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it does become a habit, you know what I mean? And I've been doing it for, I've just like steadily hitting the gym probably around like 10 years now. So, you know what I mean? It's not something that, you know, I've taken breaks, but after a certain point I was like, no, I'm here every day. You know what I mean? And it becomes something like that where I don't understand how people can't get themselves into that mindset. But, you know, maybe you've had a little bit more experience with people and their stories about how, you know, why they, you know, what excuses they make to not go to the gym. You know what I mean? So
because in that moment of you realizing that I got to go to the gym, you can either go, it's time to go to the gym. All right, I have to. Let's go. I got to do it. Or you can be like, hey, it's time to level up, baby. Yeah. It's time to get it.
Mindset.
Exactly. And even if you really don't believe that, even if you don't feel like, it's time to get it, and you're pumped up, just start saying that. Just start saying, it's time to get it. It's time to level up. It's time to get stronger. It's time to get more lean, baby. I'm ready for it. Yeah. And you keep saying those things. And after a while, your brain begins to relate those thoughts to those emotions, because every single time if you say like, you know, you usually say that when you're excited about something. You know, but what that's doing to your mind, your body, your emotions, they're all working together to go, well, I must feel good.
We're excited right now.
Yeah,
I guess,
it's time to feel good. It's time to feel excited. Yeah. But, you know, every single time, if you're, you know, whenever you're down, you're saying, oh man, crap. Yeah. You know, it's time to feel down, you know. Yeah. So if you just keep saying those things over and over, it takes a toll. You can actually retrain your brain to be pumped up and motivated in those times when you're feeling the lack of inspiration. Just start with the dialogue, and your brain is automatically going to trigger those emotions of motivation.
Do you think it's better to say them out loud or keep them in your head?
I say them out
Yeah.
loud.
All out loud,
dude.
all right, brother? Yeah, man. Like being like, we are gonna do this. You know what I mean? Looking in the mirror, like, all right, we're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, kind of getting yourself mentally psyched up. It does. It works. You know
Because
what I mean?
you think about it, we're energies.
Yeah.
And the more you can express your energy through emotion and action, the more you're going to benefit from it.
Yeah.
Because you psych yourself. It's a psychological thing. It's a physiological thing. Because that's where you hear the term vibe. You know, I vibe well with that person, or what's that person's vibe? Well, that becomes from vibration. When we speak, that's a vibration that we're radiating.
We're giving off our energy to you, and you're gonna either take it and send it back, or you're gonna reject it.
And then and that starts within, and it spreads with to the external world. And that energy that you have in here, and you let it out. It's just going to pump you up and get you going even more into that peak state. So that's why I'm very big on vibrational frequency, because we're all on different frequencies. Whatever we're tuned into, it's like we're on a radio station. Whatever that station is that you want to be on, you have to say those things and believe those things full-heartedly with as much as emotion as you possibly can.
Oh, for sure.
And you will begin to feel your vibration rise, and you'll be able to make things happen that maybe you didn't think happened before, or you'll be able to control your thoughts, your emotions, your patterns, and your actions.
You might even be able to control the room. You know what I mean? Like, you never know what just a nice hello with a smile can do to somebody. You know what I mean? You can be like in the crappiest mood, or maybe they might be in the crappiest mood, and just like, hey, hello, how you doing today? And you just do it with a smile. You know what I mean? Don't, so many people can have that fake face, they're like, hey, what's up, man? Like kind of like throwing it off. But if you actually put out, like you said, a good vibe, you know what I mean? Like that, throw out some positive energy when you say things, people respond a lot way better than just being like, oh, hello, man. You know what I mean? It's if you just go out and just tells people hello, it's pretty crazy.
and we're all connected. As human beings, we're all connected.
We all came from the source, you know what I mean? So it's like, we're all a little bit of each other. So, to block people out and to like not make connections and stuff like that, it's really sad, especially with technology. A lot of these people, they stay cooped up in their house and they just Netflix and chill. They don't want to go outside, make all these excuses. I'm tired from work and da-da-da-da-da. And then they just kind of live these little lonely lives and get like frustrated all the time, and they don't understand why, and one thing that I always tell people is like, go to the gym, man. Like, and it sounds so cliche, you know what I mean? Like, you just, go work out, you'll be all right. It's like, and it may not work for everybody. Some people do have depressions on very high levels and stuff where it's, it'll help, but it won't. But for most people, I feel like you just need to just go outside and just go for a walk. You know what I mean? Like, when was the last time you went for a nice walk? You don't have to run or nothing. Just walk around. You know what I mean? Like, just walk down the street and, you know what I mean? Like, go visit somebody. You know what I mean?
But you think about it, how much does it cost to enjoy your life?
It shouldn't cost anything.
It doesn't cost anything. A lot of people think you need this and you need that. When you can just step outside, look at the clouds, feel the sun, listen to the birds. I mean, all of that stuff. I mean, it sounds so like hippie-esque, you know what I'm saying? But if you think about it, I mean, that's where we're from. We're from the stars.
Yeah, they're part of the same energy that we're from. You know what I mean? We're just as connected to the animals and the things around us as we are to each other. You know what I mean? So why would you not appreciate like that kind of like freeness that they have? And like, because when you watch a bird fly, you're just like, man, that's so sick. And then, but then if you really watch, so they have battles. You know what I mean? Like, they still have all their primal needs that they need to fulfill too. And you know what I mean? They're songbirds sing for a reason, man. They're happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're doing what they're doing. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're happy. And like you said at the beginning, we're supposed to be doing something, like biologically. We're supposed to be climbing trees. We're supposed to be, like running, like to go catch something. You know what I mean? Like, go catch our food is what we're supposed to be doing. So when people are just so stagnant, then like you said, their energy just starts dwindling until it's, hopefully they'll be able to bring it back. You know what I mean? But without personal relationships, like, how do you say you got loner kid playing video games, has no real friends, day in, day out. What would you tell him to give a little motivation to go outside, maybe make some friends, you know what I mean? Maybe even one day talk to a girl, you know what I mean? Yeah. What would you, if it was, say it was your, your family member, you know what I mean? Just kind of hey man, let me talk to you for a second. What would you tell them?
Stop being afraid, that people aren't going to like you or that you're going to fail or anything like that. Just start going out and talking to people. Just start doing something. Just start taking action. Even if it's the wrong thing, you find out that wasn't the right thing to do at the time. As long as you're taking action, you're going to learn from it. I tell everybody that there's no way you can go backwards in life. There's no way you can be stuck in life. And I hear that so many times is that people, I feel stuck. I feel like I'm going backwards.
I'm in a rut.
Yeah, there's no way you can.
It's time goes forward, buddy.
Can you go back to just 2 seconds ago?
No.
It's impossible.
It's gone.
So everything that happens in your life is forward progress. Regardless if it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, it's still a step forward.
It's still an experience. Something to learn from, for sure.
And the more you do, the more you're going to evolve, the more you're going to improve. So just by taking actions, but doing new things, you think of something you haven't done before, something that you've been wanting to do that you've put off, and you go, maybe I want to be like that, but I could never be like that. No, just imagine what that you would do if you were like that. However you want to be, what would that version of me do, say? How would they dress? How would they feel? And just embody that and go out and start taking action, and you'll see, man.
There you go. Yeah, man, that was what I love, and that's what I'm trying to teach to my daughter and stuff. Or my nephews is try new things. There's a whole world out there, man. You know what I mean? It's fun to play video games. It's fun to just hang out and watch YouTube. It's why don't go make a YouTube video? Go outside, go record something that you guys are doing, whatever. I don't know, but just go outside and do it, and try to figure out something for at least give it 2 hours a day. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be all day, but if you can give it 1 hour, will eventually turn into an hour and a half. And then you're just I could spend 2 hours away. And then you're just I'm going to go to the gym first. So there's 3 hours. You know what I mean? And then it kind of starts building to where you're I don't even want to be home anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I've been recently, where it's if you find me here, it's only for about an hour. You know what I mean? And then I'm back out trying to do something. You know what I mean? So it's that's good advice for sure, is just to take action and try new things. You know what I mean? And like I was saying, talking to a lady, building a relationship, how do you go about talking to maybe a male trying to approach a woman, and then we'll go vice versa, how you think a woman should approach a male, and for him to feel confident to talk back to her, and go with things, because that's one of the things that people don't understand is how to build a conversation, how to start the conversation, how to take verbal cues. You know what I mean? It's a whole new thing, especially because you're not texting. You know what I mean? That kind of is throwing off how we communicate a lot, is texting, man. There's no emotion. You're not actually verbally saying anything. So, when you have to do it in person, say at a bar or in a park or something, and you're just hi, they don't understand how to do it. What do you think is a good, maybe an opener on, you see somebody, they're looking back at you, and you're just hello, and you go up to them. What is your kind of take on how to approach things like that?
Just remember that whether you're going to talk to a girl you think is attractive and you ultimately want to ask her out, or you just see somebody and you make eye contact and you want to have a conversation, maybe you want to work on your social skills, on being more social, just remember that we're all just human beings.
Yes.
We're all just, think about that. We're just humans being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just relate to people, just talk to people openly, freely. The way that most guys talk to a dime piece, like a girl that's like, man.
He's like, man, you're out of my
know what I
league.
mean?
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Talk to that girl the same as you talk to your brother, your sister. You know, like talk to your neighbor, your friends.
Like she's your best friend
just
already.
like, you know, yeah. and go up assuming that they're gonna like you.
There you go.
You know, with the feeling of, you know, this person's gonna like me.
You're like,
you know?
she's gonna love this.
Yeah, you know, like if you're, and one of the most important things too is to go and try to make somebody's day. Whether you're gonna go hit on this girl or whether you're just gonna go try to make a friend, try to make them smile, just try to give them something. And so imagine this. How confident would you feel as far as like maybe approaching women if you had like a diamond ring for them every single time and you knew that, you know, right when you go talk to them, you're gonna give them a diamond ring and it's gonna make their day? How much more confident would you be like, well, every single girl's gonna love this?
Yeah.
Well, if you just have that same energy, as to where when you see that girl and you go up to her and your personality, your vibe, your aura, just meeting you is that diamond ring for her, you're gonna feel that much more confident whenever you go speak to her.
Yeah, make her feel like this was supposed to happen.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, this was supposed to happen. We were supposed to meet here. You know, and they're just like, I don't know you. You will.
Right.
You know?
And if you just adopt that mindset of I just want to give to you, you know, I just want to you know, make your day, not from a place of lack, not from neediness of, you know, there's a difference. When you go and try to make somebody happy because you want them to like you, or just because you're making them happy just because you're that kind of a dude. You know what I'm saying? That goes around making people happy.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot less pressure off of things. But definitely the more, just like anything, the more you do it, the better you get at it. I remember the first time I talked to a girl that I liked, my heart was like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You know, it was going off. And you know, just after time.
And you're, you know, you've always been a, you know, a good-looking dude. You know, like I said, you know, you've been active. You're pretty much your whole life and stuff like that. So for somebody like you to be like, you know what I mean, like, it happens to everybody. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, you know, the whole butterflies things or whatever. But what you do is like, you're like, yeah, these are for, you know, these butterflies are for you, girl. You know what I mean? Like, that this is, you know, I am shaken because you're so beautiful. You know what I mean? Kind of like, and then you say something like that to them, they're just like, oh, you know, it's like that was, you know what I mean? And they enjoy stuff like that. And, you know, that's what I don't get sometimes is, you know, people are like, oh, I can't, you know, and it's just like, well, why not? You know, it's like, you can, you're just choosing not to, you know what I mean? So if you were gonna wingman for somebody and, you know, you're at the bar and you're just like, oh man, she's looking at you, you little cutie, what do you do to like hype dude up? You know what I mean? It's just like, come on brother, you know what I mean? Like, do you what do you do? Tell them like, what is your motivation, you know, for the night at least? You know what I mean? Do you find that out first, or do you just be like, see where night goes kind of thing?
Or you mean like if I'm with my buddy and he sees a girl that is attractive and he wants to talk to and he's scared to?
Yeah.
I would say, you know, when is enough, man? Because you obviously think that girl's cute and you want to talk to her, and if you don't, you're gonna go home tonight and wonder what would have happened, what could have happened, because that could be wifey right there. That's just chilling at the bar. That could be an amazing relationship you can have with somebody right there. But you'll never know if you don't talk to her, if you don't just go up there and see. And if she says no, she can't get an axe out and chop your head off. You know, you're not gonna die. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we think. You know,
rejection is so scary, man. Like I remember bouting with that like a lot. And still do, man.
But you got to think about it with the abundant mentality of how many women are out there. If there has to be ones that love your game, you know, that whatever
someone's
you kick,
gonna respond.
you know, if she doesn't dig what you're kicking to her, another female will. And so just because that female didn't dig what you're kicking to her, and a lot of the times we take it so personally. If a girl rejects us, we start thinking, you know, oh, maybe I'm not attractive, or maybe I don't have the personality, I'm not good with women. We start thinking of all these things. Well, it's a lot of things are going on with that girl that you don't know either.
Exactly.
She could have a boyfriend, or she could have just gotten out of a horrible relationship, and or her grandmother could have just passed away, and you just have no idea.
You're just gonna assume just because she says like, I'm okay, you know, maybe next time or whatever. Just you know what I mean? You start just you're just like, man, whatever, and then you just start drinking yourself into oblivion because one girl just rejected. No, not even rejected. Just kind of just, you know, it's like, I'm sorry, it's not gonna work out unless you just like, you know. Then you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, you know, like there's a difference, but like some people just take them both the same way.
Yeah, and if you could find a way to have fun with it, like too, because I've done that too. You gotta
have a sense of humor about this.
Yeah, I've done that too before, where like I'll go and talk to a girl, like right up to her and talk to her, and she'll act like I'm not talking. She'll just look at me and just like kind of maybe roll her eyes and like turn, and I'll be right there and like, you know, hey, how's it going? And then she kind of looks and then turns away. Oh, I'm doing fine, thank you. It's kind of a tough day for me, you know what I mean? I start like a conversation and talking to her, and a lot of the times they'll turn around and be like, oh, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, and or, you know, if a girl does that, like or whatever, I'll be like, who took the gem out of your donut? You know, like just have fun with it and just like try to make them laugh either like, way, ouch. You know. You know, that hurts. And you know, and if she does end up, you know, just like blowing you off, you know, just be like, hey, have a good night, sweetie. You know, just like that. There's no, it just,
you gotta accept it and just it's like,
keep your class. Just have self-respect and keep it classy. That's
keep it, man. Classy,
because
man.
If you go up to a girl and you say, you know, hey, my name's Michael, I seen you sitting over here, you know, you looked interesting, just wanted to come and talk to you, and she's just like, whatever, and go, have a nice night. Then that right there shows your level of class and that other person's lack of class. Exactly. Because you can have all of the money, all of the power in the world, but if you treat people like that, if you treat people like that, you don't have class. And plus, you don't want a girl that doesn't have respect for other people, because the bottom line is, when you find out how she really, regardless of her physical beauty, when you find out that her heart isn't good, then that girl's not for you. She's going to do you more damage than good anyway.
Yeah. Some people just take it and just let them do the damage just because they are so beautiful. You know what I mean? And that hurts too to watch, especially when it's somebody that's close to you. You're just like, you know, because, you know, it's happened. You know what I mean? Like everybody has to, you know, go through an experience like that to know, you know, and that's one thing that I've learned. A lot of people don't like dating. You know what I mean? They're just like, they'll get like a relationship and they'll keep it forever, you know, and they're just like, I don't know what I'll do without him, whatever. It's like, you're going to keep living, man. You're just going to go find another person that you can connect with on it. And then if it doesn't work out, then that's fine. You know what I mean? Like you said, there's such a huge pool. It's just like, there's no way that, you know, in a population of 500,000 that there's only one in there for you. You know what I mean? Like, nah, man, come on. It's like, pull yourself together.
Man. It's just...
but like, well, and then that leads to, you know, relationships. You know, that's another thing that you talk a lot about. You know, helping people build relationships. You know, friendships as well as physical and like, you know, emotional relationships. And I just wanted to know what you think about are the benefits of, say, being single and benefits of being with somebody. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I'm single right now. You know, it's not bad. It kind of, you know, it does get lonely. You know, you do want companionship, but then again, you still have your freedoms to kind of go and do whatever you please. You know what I mean? But what do you think is you know, the benefits of being single?
Right now, currently at this point in my life, I'm having a blast being single. Yeah. And it is simply for the fact that I am more focused on more things in my life. I'm more focused on my career, my business, my personal development, my fitness. Just me living the life that I love to live.
That you've been kind of building your own.
You know, and just experiencing life and enjoying it. And to put women on this priority from that is kind of like, well, I mean, is my life not good enough alone? You know, as to where I need somebody there. And I think that's where people get this misconception of the success in life is, if you don't get married, you know, you're not successful, or your life isn't complete until you get married. And people can be like, you know, 40 years old, yeah, I'm not married, and you'll meet somebody. What makes you think I even want to meet somebody? You know, like,
you're like, I'm going pretty good without it, you know, like,
And for me, like being single, it's like, you know, nobody's gonna tell me what to do. You know, I don't have to bargain with anybody.
Yeah.
And you know, if later on down the line, you know, I meet somebody I want to hook up with, I'm gonna hook up with that person. If I meet this other person I'm gonna hook up with this person. Nobody's gonna tell me, you know, that I can or I can't. Now, what I believe, and it's such a high percentage, especially with the era we live in, which is the social media era.
Oh yeah. Era of technology, man.
Yeah, my beliefs on marriage is, if you're already married and you already have kids, then it's, you know, it'd be beneficial if you worked it out and, you know, you could make it happen and last and everything. If you can salvage your marriage, if it's going through some kind of struggles, then it would be beneficial to stay married and work it out and solve, you know, any kind of issues in there. But for me, I'm really not leaning towards the side of ever getting married. Because I see a lot of issues popping up, and they say it's like 50% of marriages work and they don't. It's more like 70% don't work.
Well, and nowadays for sure, because like the era of social media and the era of technology, there's just so much out there and it's so available. It's really hard to be like, you know what I mean? Like there's only one, you know what I mean? Like before like computers and stuff and all that, where you got married at 25 or 20 and then you stayed with that person until you died, you know what I mean? And like that, I do enjoy that old school feel of being like with a person for a long time, you know what I mean? Like marriage and stuff like that. I do enjoy it. It doesn't, to me, it has nothing to do with like the religious aspects of anything. And, you know, it is a really like old school thing that kind of doesn't, you know what I mean? It used to, you know, when you go back into what marriages really were back then, you know, just like, dude, nobody would get married either. You know what I mean? It's all about just having a connection and being able to trust somebody enough to be like, dude, you're not going to go fuck around, are you? And they're like, no, are you? And you're like, no. You're like, I'm here with you. You know, it's like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what people are leaning more towards these days is not worrying about having to go through divorces or go through like lawyers and stuff and just being like, dude, we can stay together for, I guess it's like 10 years if you're with somebody, then you're like
that,
legally.
Common law.
Yeah, you're just like, dude, you guys are married, fuck it. You know, and even that can be like, oh, well, didn't work out, you know, and at least there's no separation. There's no like 50-50, you take this, there's no battles, like at least legally, you know, you kind of just figure it out within each other. So I think that's one thing that people are leaning more towards is just not getting married.
Because you can have an amazing relationship with an amazing partner and this commitment and the dedication and all of the stuff that comes with it without actually going through the legal, because all it is just a signature and a ceremony. I mean, you can even have the ceremony without going through all of the legal procedures as well.
You can do whatever you want, man.
You can do whatever.
We could do this right here in the living room. You know,
exactly.
You just have a person that's like, hey man, go online, get ordained, and you know, let's do this right now. You know what I mean? It's like that's what it should be. Yeah. You know, it's about the love. You know what I mean? So,
and then I've heard so many times, like I've heard people say, like, yeah, my relationship was amazing until we got married. Like, you know, I'm like, wow. You know,
yeah, exactly. All these horror stories,
it changes.
It's a mindset.
Your thought of what's to be expected, and no doubt, you know, there is a lot of that is to be expected from a marriage, but those same expectations should be just the same if you're completely committed to somebody, regardless if there's a legal document or whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, when you put that in there, it almost seems like something's forced. Anytime you try to force love, that shit ain't ever gonna work.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
I didn't think about it. Yeah, it's like you're like, by signing this means I have to love you. You know what I mean? It means that we can't fall out of love or else it's gonna get messy. You know what I mean? And it's like, then you're putting basically a number on it. You know what I mean? It's like a numerical number. You're like, I love you this much, and it's gonna, you know what I mean? This by year, you know.
Right, dude. But I will say this though, that when I do see couples with their families and they're just, you know, walking around or having a good time, or like they're posting these things where they went to like a water slides, or I'm just like, that is such a beautiful life, man. Blessings to them, dude. Like that right there is beautiful. You know, when it is working and their families, I mean, so I do give all the credit to them for that, because that is I've never been married, but I know what the family life is like, you know.
It seems like a really nice thing to be able to rely on that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that is a blessing to be with your kids and then with the mom, and then
with
you
the
all
mom
get
of your
taken,
kids,
trips, or just, being here, you're at home watching TV and your kid comes and jumps on your lap and you watch TV, just little things, so it can be a very beautiful thing, but there's always the polar side of it as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, as far as that, would you advise people just to be single until something happens, or do you think people should actually go out and look for it? You know what I mean? Because you know how people say, stuff happens when you're not looking for it. You know, like it'll happen if you just let it happen, naturally or whatever. But if you're not going out and actually trying, then it's not going to happen either, right?
Yeah.
Like so.
With that, I mean, you have to think of it like this. I mean, do you want to get what you want, or do you just want to get what you get? Because if you're not going out actively seeking it, then you're just going to get whatever falls into your lap. If you see somebody or meet somebody, or if this is what you really want, then go after it. There's nothing wrong with actively seeking it.
Yeah.
As long as you're in a healthy place, as long as you have no need for it, you just desire it from a place of, like, this is what I want, and you can't knock that. But it's just the mindset of it going into it. This is what I want, and I know exactly what I want, the kind of partner that I want. But I would strongly urge you, if you are going actively seeking a partner or a relationship, then know exactly what you expect from a relationship, what you will put up with, what you won't put up with, the kind of characteristics. Now, you're never going to meet the perfect person, but you will have the ideal person. And a lot of people think that we have a soulmate, which I believe we have multiple soulmates.
Like you said, we're all part of the same energy.
Exactly, man. There's multiple
can't
people.
Be one.
There isn't. It's impossible.
This isn't Highlander. You know what I mean? Like,
you know how many times people have told me, I seen your twin today, and I'm like, I don't have a twin. They're like, there's someone that looks exactly like you. There's multiple people around this planet that look like me, talk like we, walk, or just my identical twin.
Oh, I've seen them. I've seen
dude.
You know what I mean? That people they're just like, they send me pictures. They're like, this is you, right? Or like, this is your cousin or something. Like, I have no idea what that. You know what I mean? And they're just like. And then they'll be in some random place, like, I saw somebody that looks exactly like you, or they'll just come up to me and be like, hey, man, you remember me from that? And like, nah. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's like, I could swear it was you. I'm like, dude, I've never been here before in my life. You know what I mean? So, yeah, exactly. There's no way, though, like.
But I do want to say this, though, is that a lot of the times we fall in love with somebody's potential. And that is good. You see what they're capable of, everything like that. But fall in love with who they are now. I remember my buddy told me a long time ago, it was one of the most awakening experiences, as far as what I thought about relationships and the women that I would date. And he's like, Mike, you keep meeting all of these girls that they're kind of like what you want, but you want them to be more, or you want them to be a certain way, and you try to maybe like help them be that way, But why don't you just only get the ones, or go after the ones that are already exactly how you want to be, want them to be, or what you expect from a woman, or what exactly you want, instead of kind of what you want and trying to help them to achieve that potential. Yeah,
try to help them check off the boxes when you're just like, no, well, they should be already checked by the time I get to you, you know, kind of a thing. And all the boxes might not be checked, but all her boxes might be checked with you. So I mean, you gotta be able to. It's like, she had, it's like it's 8 out of 10. You're just like, but we can lose those other two.
And it's like, no, just as long as you remember that nobody's perfect. You're not perfect.
Exactly.
Your partner's not going to be perfect. So in that, you really have to separate what you want and what you absolutely need. And when you're able to separate those, then it will become more apparent for you as to, okay, now I know exactly what I want. Because that's what I need, and what I don't need. It's just what I want. So when you can separate those two, when you can discover more about yourself, then all of those people that you date, or those opportunities will begin to arise for you, and it's just a little bit more clear.
Yeah. So do you think it'd be better to have somebody help you out with this decision-making process, or do you think you should make your own list on your own, you know what I mean? Because having a buddy there to just be like, hey, man, you don't need that. It's like, why do you expect them to be like that? You don't do that. Mm-hmm. You're just like, I want a chick to be clean as fuck, and you're just like, dude, your room's a mess. Like, why do you expect her to be clean? You're not clean. And then you're just going to go and dirty her spot and expect her to clean it. It is like, that's kind of rude. You know what I mean? So like, do you think, because there's apps and stuff, all, that's the new thing. It's, there's always been, basically like a kind of some sort of social networking that, that's where I got a lot of my dates growing up from, was just like when the internet started up, just happened to be right in high school. So it's like, game on, you know what I mean? MySpace, rate your face, and all these like different little silly websites where people were, just posting pictures and talking to each other, is the beginning of it. So, do you think apps work out better if you're by yourself? Do you think it's better to have, at least one or two buddies, let's wrangle up the crowd, let's talk about this, because you actually want a relationship, you want somebody to be with, a companion, and you keep picking the wrong people, or maybe just not the right people, you know what I mean? So you can have a buddy help you out with that. Like, which one do you think is probably better? Like, going through your head mentally, being like, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. Like, maybe even write it down and be like, this is what I want. Or to have a buddy there be like, yo, what do you think about this? And it's just like, well, you're kind of this, and just having feedback.
Anything and everything you want to get transparent, just crystal clear down, write it down. Because when you write it down, you're able to actually visually just see it right there. Yes, and the answers will pop out, the pros and the cons, the likes and the dis, all of that stuff. Write it all down, and then the people who know you best, get their opinion on things. Now, you're ultimately going to make your own decisions, and you'll never know until you actually do, until you actually take the chance, so you take the leap. You won't find out until then. But it is best to be the most prepared you can possibly be before you do that. And it does take finding out the most you can about yourself and writing it all down, rewriting it. And if that's what you have to do, then I strongly urge you to do it. And then get the people that know you the best to get their opinions as well. Now, anytime you can learn from anybody, because some people, well, it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. And it's true. It really doesn't.
To a certain extent.
But if they can come in there and they can tell you something that you didn't think about before, it might just be a game changer for you. So anytime you can get the opportunity to get any wisdom from anybody,
constructive criticism,
that might help you, well, then seek it. Throw your ego out the window and look for those benefits.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because you'll have habits that other people are just like, dude, you like. You do this or you do that, you have certain, you maybe have anger issues, you know what I mean? Where there's like, man, you should probably figure that out first. You know what I mean? And people, when they start self-reflecting, they start getting defensive, you know what I mean? That's like, especially right now, dude, like people get so defensive right away off of anything that you say, you know what I mean? That they don't agree with, you know what I mean? Like you could tell your best friend, hey man, you're being kind of a dick. And they're just like, hey, what do you know? And they'll just, what do you, instead of being like, okay, my bad. Like, was that dick? Shit, okay, my bad. Like, let me tone it down a little bit. And you're just like, yeah. And then we're good. You know what I mean? But just going on the defensive right away is like, seems like one of the things that people do.
Yeah.
And like, it really does hold them back. You know what I mean? As far as, especially conversation-wise, like we go back to earlier when we were saying, it's like, oh, no, not really. And there's, you bitch. You know what I mean? It's just like, why? Like, it's not supposed to be personal. Like, it's supposed to be, constructive. You're supposed to take it and be like, okay. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people don't do that nowadays, and they just don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? And that's a wall to break too. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Especially when people are set in their ways.
Yeah, because they're comfortable like that.
Yeah, they're just like, you're the problem, not me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Right, yeah.
You're like, okay, you go back to how you're being, you know what I mean? But, so say somebody is, they've been in a relationship for a long time, Then they get out of it, 5-10 years, and then they're just like, what do I do? You know what I mean? Like, how do I get back on the horse? How do I start communicating with people again? Like, building that confidence. I'm pretty sure that you have a few friends that been going through that or are going through that. What do you kind of do to help them out, just to be like, all right, man, because I know we talked about earlier just going out there and just doing it, you know what I mean? But when you've been with somebody for X amount of years and you're just like, I haven't had to do this in so long. It's different times, different, what I mean? It's a completely different world after a few years. So, what do you think helps get people back started up after being in a long relationship?
I think it's best to reflect back on your relationship and find out and write it down. Find out what made it work and what made it not work. What did I like? What didn't I like? What do I want now, moving forward? And just write everything down, so everything, there's like that checklist for you again. Mm-hmm. And my best advice is, after you find all of that stuff out for your next relationship, first make sure that you're healed up, that you're over that relationship before you go out looking to someone else to make you feel good again or to make you feel happy.
Yeah.
And just make sure that those keys are covered, because you never want to use somebody else to make you feel better or make you get over your ex. That's one of the worst, because one, it's bad on your part, because you're training yourself to be reliant on somebody else. Yeah. And not only that, what are you doing to that person as well? That's not fair what you're doing to that person, using that person for your own benefit. You're just using somebody. Anytime you use somebody for anything, that just lowers your overall vibration.
True. Yeah. Trying to be like jump from relationship to relationship just to make yourself feel better, that's just like, and then that doesn't help with the self-reflection, like you were saying. And it's just like, why would somebody maybe just break down like all completely, you know what I mean? There was just like, I'm just done. I'm done with like any relationship, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you've run across a few of those people too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? What makes them just give up, do you think? You know what I mean?
Well, they just had it. They're tired of going through that cycle. Yeah. And, they've had all of these bad experiences, and they're just like, I don't ever want another relationship ever again. And if that's what you come to realize, that you really don't ever want another relationship ever again, make sure it's from a place of your own happiness, as to where you're happy about that. You're not soured by it. It's not a negative thing. You don't feel that way because you feel that they're all bullshit, or there's no hope in it. I'll never meet somebody. Or they never seem to work. Those aren't really the best reasons. The best reasons to actually find out if that's really for you. If you do actually want to be single for the rest of your life, then make sure it's because you feel happier that way. You truly, genuinely, to yourself, if you had a conversation with yourself, nobody else around, because a lot of the times we say that to other people because we feel like we need to hold up our own facade or our own persona, these ways.
Yeah, ego, man.
Yeah, our ego. And if you actually have the conversation with yourself and you come to the realization that you actually are better off single, then more power to you. I mean, it is what makes you happy. But if you do come to a realization where, I actually like being in a relationship and I actually want to find somebody else, but it's never worked out before, well, just because it hasn't worked out before doesn't mean it won't work out in the future. If you were to stand mid-court in a basketball court and you were to throw the ball at the hoop and you did that 100 times and you never made it, are you telling me that eventually you're never going to make it? Because there's always a chance you will make it. Yeah. But you just have to keep throwing that ball, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. Just keep trying. So what do you think keeps a relationship going then? You know what I mean? There's especially like we were saying in this day of technology and stuff like that, there's Facebook and stuff, Snapchat, Instagram, where there's just, you can get distracted on, like who's in front of you, trying to dream about somebody else that's not, or just something that you've seen on the internet. And then and then there's physical, things that you need to do, as far as like having sex, like holding her hand while you're walking, like actual physical connections, mental connections. Say, based on your experiences, man, like what do you think keeps people happy?
As far as just in a
say, somebody's in a long relationship and they're just like, man, things aren't going right. What kind of checklist would be like, so while you guys having sex? Like, when was the last time you guys took a vacation? Like personal time? Like, is that more of like what we were talking about, just write it all down kind of like idea for you? Or do you think it's just based on just, it might be just like everybody's different kind of idea?
Well, everybody is different.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks different. Everybody's idea of what's fun and what's not. I mean, it's all just different.
No, it's all subjective for sure.
The reason why we get with somebody is because most of what we feel and what we think is just on the same frequency. You just vibe well with that person. You agree on a lot of things, but it's very important that you disagree on a lot of things as well, because otherwise, if you just agreed on everything, it'd be like you're dating yourself.
Yeah,
and, come on now. There's nothing else to learn and no room for growth. But in the things that you disagree with, it's very important that you realize that it's okay to disagree on those things. But ultimately, are you happy with yourself? Are you depending on this person to make you happy? And if that's the case, then you need to find your own happiness first, because it is true, if you yourself aren't happy, you can't make another person happy.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's not your responsibility to make somebody else happy either. So if you're in a relationship where you are happy, and your partner isn't happy, and you're going out of your way to make them happy, that's not your responsibility.
Yeah.
And just make sure that there is an equal exchange of value in the relationship. Because if you're giving to the relationship and giving to the relationship, and the other person isn't, or the other person, or you're making this person so happy, you're making them feel so fulfilled and excited, and they're not doing the same for you, then it's time to reevaluate that relationship or exit that relationship, because there has to be an equal exchange of value and love and action and dedication and commitment in that relationship.
Yeah, for sure. So, unfortunately, when they do end, say it was a long marriage, or, even just a long relationship, and, their kid, there's kids involved, right? What do you, dating people with children, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you've had to do it, I've done it. Like, what scares you about that a little bit? What do you like about it? What are, maybe some benefits and things that you should watch out for when it comes to like being in a relationship with a parent? You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
The things to be aware of is that from a man's point of view, when you're dating a single mother, and she has one kid or two or however many, you have to go in there realizing that you're never going to be her top priority.
Right. You
have to know that her top priority is her kids.
They should be.
Yeah, sure. It should be. Yeah, definitely. If you're going in thinking that, hey, it's going to be, awesome, and, she's going to cater to me and do all of that stuff. No, you have to be fine with her putting her kids first. And then, after she makes sure her kids are settled and everything like that, then that's when you come into the picture.
Yeah.
And if you're not okay with that, then I would suggest don't date a single mother. There are some benefits, though. When you come into a child's life, you can be a positive role model in that child's life. You don't have to be their father. You don't have to be their mother, whatever that is, but you can just be a positive role model in that child's life. Anytime you go into somebody's life, you always want to make sure that you're making their life better with you in it. Yeah. And anytime you're going around people and inviting people into your life, or vice versa, you have to make sure that because of your presence or that person's presence, everybody's benefiting more. If you're in somebody's life and you're making their life worse for you being in it, then you need to go and do your own thing or something like that. But
or if you don't even like their children or something, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, some people just want to have like that physical connection with the mother or the father or whatever, and they're just like, the kids are, you know, they're like, I don't want anything to do with the kids. You know what I mean? So that's kind of rude too, you know what I mean? Like, because like you said, there should be priority number one. So, you know, you should be able to at least talk about that up front. Or is that something that you tell people, you know, tell a lady, you're like, yeah, I do have a kid, or do you hold it back for a little bit, or you know what I mean? Like, what do you think is like too fast, you know what I mean? What's too much information too fast?
No, just straight up.
Straight up.
Just,
give
it just straight up. Because
kids
like,
are my one.
Hey girl, this is what I'm kicking. This is what I got going on. If you ain't down with it, you know, it don't have to be.
Exactly.
You know, so anytime you're feeling like holding something back, don't, man. Just come out with it. And if she's not ready to rock with you because of that, man, well then she's not for you, or that guy isn't for you. You know, if they don't dig your vibe, they don't dig your scenario, and they're not okay with all of that, then there's no need to tippy-toe around that. You know, you just be straight up. This is my life right here. My life's already good. I'm content with it. I might choose you to come into my life, and you know, we could be cool together. But if not, well then my life's already good, just plain as it is. Yeah.
Because ultimately you're going to be helping her, you know, or him, you know, with their life and event. You know, the kids, and if you want to stick around, the kids are going to be there. You know what I mean? Like. So you have to be able to accept stuff like that. But, you know, it feels like people are so scared to be, you know, called stepdad or stepmom. You know what I mean? They don't want to have a label like that. There's like, maybe they don't want to be a role model, you know, because they never had one themselves. You know what I mean? So they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, that kind of scares a lot of people. And unfortunately right now, like, if, you know, like the amount of people that are single parents is just way up there. So eventually, you know what I mean? You're going to run into them eventually, you know, if you want to actually date, you know, unless you find somebody from high school and you're you know, you guys been together forever, you know what I mean? So I like the idea of dating somebody with a child just because I want to know how they treat them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because then you can learn a lot about somebody just on how they interact with their children, what they do, you know, how kind of how they treat them. Then you're just like, well, I don't know, I don't want them around, you know, if we have a kid, you know, that's not how I'm going to want them to treat them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So little red flags like that, you know, is definitely something that you should probably like visually see. You know, people ignore them because they're just like, oh, you know, whatever. But it's like, man, if you come in, the house is dirty, the kids running around, dirty diapers, something, you know what I mean? And it's just like, come on, man, you know, you get together a little bit, you know what I mean? And if you don't like it, you don't have to stay, you know what I mean? And little cues like that should probably, you know, do your decision for you, you know what I mean? Because like you said, there's a checklist, and it's like, and you're just like, man, she's just missing too many.
And if you see that early on, why would you continue on with it? You know, just cut it loose right
Some
then
people
and
just
there,
want to get
you
the
know?
booty,
Yeah.
man. Some people just want to get the booty.
I mean, the looks fade. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Gives a damn how bomb she is. You know, if she ain't right for my life, if she's gonna be toxic in my life, or she's gonna prevent me from being the best me, living the life that I, you know, only imagine, which is nothing less than amazing, well then I'm sorry. There's no negotiating that.
Yeah, points dwindle for sure.
Yeah, you know, otherwise what's the point of it all?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, just one of the last questions I kind of wanted to touch on with, you know, as far as relationships and stuff, and, you know, it's something that I'm kind of not struggling with, but kind of, you know, thinking about mentally is, you know, do opposites really attract? You know what I mean? Like, should you date somebody that's kind of like you? Should you try people that are like opposite to try to, you know, see what happens? You know, because, you know, there's all that old cliche of, you know, opposites attract and stuff. So to me, I'm like, yeah, sometimes, you know, like there's the attractant is, you know, it's the variable, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of what holds it together. But when that kind of like dissipates, you know, it's just like, gosh, we're just, you know, there's just nothing that we actually agree on.
Yeah.
You know, and you were saying, you know, you need disagreements in a relationship, but you know, what's too much disagreements?
Right.
You know what I mean? So what do you think, man?
There has to be some things that, you know, you are alike in. It's like everything can't be different, because if everything is different, then I think it would eventually cause some disagreements and, you know, a bit of chaos here and there.
Yeah.
But as far as opposites attract, yeah, you know, if you can make it work with somebody who's completely opposite, you know, there are a lot of benefits in there too. You meet somebody that is, you know, like very, very calm and very just, you know, serene, and you know, and you get flustered up a lot, you know, and you're just easy to go off, and you meet that person that can just level you out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a benefit right there. Or there's somebody, you know, it's always fun because you're doing something new, they're doing something new, but the key is as to where do you want to welcome that, and do you want to be a part of those new things that they're doing, because since they're the complete opposite, do you want that in your life? Like if somebody is spur of the moment and the other person likes to plan everything out. Well, can you be spur of the moment too? Or, you know, that can that person who's spur of the moment, can they be, you know, accept that? Yeah, because ultimately, if you're spur of the moment, and you're with somebody who likes to plan everything out, and you try to go, hey, let's get up and go to the beach right now. And they're like, oh, what are you talking about? Well, we need to plan this out. Maybe next week.
So where are we going?
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, the beach. You know?
Yeah. Well, then you have to know that and be able to accept that. And when you want to do those things, and it's the vice versa too. If you're with somebody that is spur of the moment and you like to plan things out, well, you have to be ready to get up and go when it's time too. So I say there's a lot of benefits in having your opposite, but there are some things that you have to be the same as. Like, because for me, I love my fitness, I love my healthy lifestyle. There is no way I'm gonna be with somebody who is unhealthy and doesn't work out. It's just not gonna happen.
It hurts. Yeah, for sure. I'm the same way, because, you know, I'm at the gym 6-7 days a week. I'm not doing anything crazy, but I'm doing something. You know what I mean? So fitness is a big part of my life, and, you know, if you you need somebody that definitely you're just like, you can't be fat, you know, or you can't be unhealthy and, like, you know, expect this to work out, because I'm at the gym when you're just sitting here, you know, it's like we're going to argue about that. You know,
but I mean, even then you can have the same kind of lifestyle, but it's the opposite. Like both a healthy lifestyle, like for me, I do martial arts, right? Which is can be considered like violent, right? But my partner, she be healthy, and she does yoga, you know, which is very peaceful and relaxing and calm, but it's still a healthy lifestyle, but it's still almost the opposite as well. You know?
That makes sense too, because as well as that is the opposite, it's still the same. You still can connect on the fact that you're just like, she's like, man, I did this pose today that I haven't been able to work, you know, do. And I finally pulled it off, and you're just like, yo, I finally kicked this dude in the head. You know what I mean? And it was awesome. You know, I finally got, you know, I won, you know, 1 out of 3, and finally, you know what I mean? He didn't kick my ass again. And it's just that you can relate on just being like accomplishments. You know what I mean? So that's for sure, is just being like somebody that's just enough like you that is gonna be in the same kind of mental state, and then the opposite to where they'd be like, no, you know what I mean? Like, we can't do that. Or, you know, because like you said, if you're spur of the moment, you're like, let's go. And it's like, dude, we don't have money for that. It's like, how much do you plan on spending? You know? And you're just like, I don't know. He's like, well, no.
And it's kind of cool, because you can also learn from that person, and they can learn from you. When you have so much different lifestyles, or so many different ways about you, it gives you the opportunity to learn from that person, and kind of go, you know what? You know, like the person that's, you know, the planner, and the person that with the spur of the moment kind of thing, the planner can see that person, you know what? I don't need to plan everything. Let's go. You know what I mean? And just kind of like,
they get that one idea. They're just like, you know what? They tell you, like, let's go to the beach. You're just sitting there like, what? You know, it's like, was this in the schedule? You know what I mean? And it's like, I didn't, you know, we weren't supposed to do that today. And they're just like, you know what, just, let's do it. You know, and you're just like, all right, you know, you get that little jump, you know, that little excitement. And you're just like, man, this is what that's why I knew I was going to get, you know, break through on that, you know, eventually or whatever.
Because the opposite might very well be what you've been missing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, you know, it's like, that's where I'm going in my head right now. You know, I've dated girls that are kind of like me. Most part, I tend to lean towards like opposites, to where it's, so they'll balance me out, you know what I mean? To, maybe, like if I'm working out too much or whatever, they'd be like, dude, just stay here, just chill with me. You know what I mean? Like, just relax on the bed with me. All right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and they're just able to like, just calm down, you can go later or, whatever, you'll be all right. Just chill here with me. And you're just like, all right.
Yeah.
And I like that. I need that sometimes, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, I need somebody to tell me to, slow down a little bit, if not, I'm just going to just keep doing what I'm doing. And I'm not sure if that's a healthy thing or an unhealthy thing, until somebody actually brings it up to me and tells me like, hey man, you should probably slow down on that, or you're doing a great job, keep that up. You know what I mean? You're just like, all right, cool. And validation and all that stuff is always key. But, like with all this, there's definitely so much to look at, and everything that you said is basically how I feel about things. You know what I mean? Is like you got to be mentally free. You got to have energy to give to other people. You have to be able to express yourself and take things, try new things. You know what I mean? That right there is where I'm kind of at in myself, being I've been single for from an actual relationship for a little over a year and stuff. So I'm like, all right, let's try to figure out what was cool about me that girls actually responded to before I was in the relationship. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I'm working on right now, and that's with what you said. It's basically how the things that you need to hear. So I can understand how this is your line of work. This is your you're a motivational speaker. You like tell people like, hey man, it's okay to fail, you know what I mean? But just be happy and just do it with a smile. Fail with a smile, you know what I mean? You're just, all right, I'll get you next time. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you never know, man. Like you just you tell a girl, she'll reject you, and the next time you're just like, hey, remember me? And they're just like, yeah, I remember you. And you're just like, boom, you just scored again. It's like kind of a thing. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming out here and just giving a little chit chat. I had a few, like I said, just a few extra questions that we didn't get around to last time and stuff like that. And just anytime I could pick your brain, man, it's always fun. The questions will never stop if you don't stop coming.
Right. Yeah, dude, I have fun when I'm here, so it's
awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you, man. And then go ahead, tell everybody like where they can find you, your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. But I would say the most important follow you should give is on my YouTube channel, which is Micheal J Fit. Check that out, and that's where I put a lot of my videos right there.
Yeah.
And, I give a wide variety of the motivation, dating advice, relationship, success, and just everything's in there. So the most important one is the Micheal J Fit YouTube channel if you're looking to check my content.
Yeah, nice. Well, thank you again, sir.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening,
Peace.
And then we'll see you later. Thanks.